we've seen communities gathered around all sorts of different things. Like the communities that we've been a part of online have been around shared healing and around shared growth.
Or world schooling.
Or world schooling, or we've stepped into church communities and that's around faith. We see communities that have sprung up around particular issues. We've seen like all sorts of different things or different cultural backgrounds and people naturally gather in things that are similar to them or shared areas of concern. And I think having something outside of ourselves that draws us together is such a huge thing. As long as that thing doesn't start to spark division between us, or we hold so rigidly to a set of beliefs that we then have to ostracize or push other people out because we feel that they're not agreeing.
And it can be difficult to do that sometimes because people's opinions are so closely linked to their worth and who they are as a person. It takes a second to step back and look underneath it and see the commonalities in our humanity. That is the thing that binds us all together, right?
Yeah. One other thing that I guess has caught me a few times is the way that our independence often removes a sense of greater story from us. And this is
we're losing it, aren't we?
We are.
That's really sad.
This is something that we've intentionally tried to seek out as we've traveled with our girls, is reconnecting them to the stories of our history.
Yes.
So we've traveled to our childhood homes, we've traveled to
ancestral,
our parents' childhood homes, and then to our grandparents' childhood homes, even our great-grandparents' childhood homes, which like it's been amazing, number one, but for our girls to be able to see that they're not just themselves. They're not just a individual within this kind of enormous world, but they're actually connected to a much deeper story that goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 generations back.
And as a side note, the stats around this of kids understanding even their own parents' history and like us talking about our own childhoods and about Grammy and Papa's childhood and things like that, it creates such a sense of belonging in them, a confidence. Those children have a higher self-esteem. They have less mental health issues.
A greater sense of purpose.
It's crazy. So basically you should be sitting around the table talking about all your family history. And you think of Indigenous cultures, so much of their around the fire time or whatever was storytelling, and we're losing it in this society because we're too busy. We're not sitting at a table, we're not talking, we're just moving from one thing to the next.
And I want to add to that as well, this sense of story comes with a challenge because our ancestors were not clean people.
Some of them weren't.
No, well, none of them were. They were human.
But I mean, like, some of the stories are pretty
horrific at times. So sharing story and I guess broader cultural stories have become challenging. And I mean, here in Australia, it's really difficult looking at white colonial history in light of Indigenous history.
You just don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to say the wrong thing.
And unfortunately, there's almost a demonization of the white colonial history here. And how do we actually step into that conversation holding the nuance? Because yes, it's messy. And yes, there was absolute atrocities done. There was horrendous things. And it's brought a whole different...
It's part of the story.
It's part of the story. And we can't remove it. We can't in for it now because it's past. But we can recognize it and we can hold the balance of it. And we don't have to demonize one side or the other. We don't have to like triumphantly talk about one side or the other. People don't talk about it. And so you end up with just a mess.
I guess the nuance of it all too, because both obviously our heritage came over from the UK, looking at and explaining to the girls what colonization did to Australia, and also seeing the people that are their ancestors, the lives they were living at the time is important. And it's an important thing to talk about anyway. Otherwise, history repeats itself. Important to honor the sacrifices that our ancestors made, who fought in the war and who traveled. You know, my mum came over on a boat with a teddy and a dress. Like that was it. She, and she was 3 at the time.
And so the challenge with all of this broader cultural history is, can we remove our sense of offense or our strongly rooted sense of positive framing of everything and sit with the balance of it and go, wow, like it was beautiful, it was messy, it was like grievous, and it was an incredible gift. Like both can be true, and we can look at it and then we can go, okay, how can we grow? How can we actually, as a community, come together and be a people who love deeply and love well, who accept the limitations of our humanity and the ability to show up, well, not at all perfectly, and go, okay, let's continue life together.